What's up, everyone? It's Chicks in the Office with Rhea and Fran, giving you that Friday energy on a Friday. We are excited about this episode.
We have like 3 perfectly curated segments
For this episode.
maybe not perfectly, but 3
We
segments.
perfected it to our finest ability.
Exactly.
But we did say on the last episode that we were going to be throwing in a Q&A into this episode. And this episode's Q&A is an AMA. It's just
AMA for the Q&A.
Yes. We said we were going to put up topics, but we decided why not just start off talking about us? And because there are new listeners, there are things that people don't know about us personally.
Mm-hmm.
So we picked out 10 questions from the Instagram we posted on there, and we will go through them. Not much to talk about in the intro because I feel like we're going to be talking a lot about personal stuff in this AMA segment. So I feel like
let's get into those
West
3
Coast
perfectly
tickets.
Curated segments. West Coast
Seattle
tickets.
next week.
Seattle, hopefully next week.
Who knows? But like, it's not this week. We know that.
It's definitely not this week. And Dylan and Hannah are our guests for San Diego. So if you're in that area, get your tickets. There's not too many left, so jump on that and make sure you are there. And you can still buy tickets for Portland.
Yeah. Everything else. Sold
Everything
out.
else.
yes. So Portland, San Diego, and the merch. Don't forget the merch. Both links are in the description wherever you listen to the
This is the My
podcast.
Girl is a Lawyer's hoodie.
Yeah.
Which I wore for one of the perfectly curated segments.
So happy.
And I didn't shout out originally, but with the new logo and the merch, Will.
Yes.
Big help. He's like designing like almost everything.
We
so
may
shout
have
out
missed
Will.
some
I
names.
missed some
sorry.
names.
Yeah.
I might have thrown in some wrong names.
I think I threw in some wrong names.
No,
but
that's fine.
That's all right. Everybody deserves
No,
thanks
everyone
around here.
gets credit.
Will probably deserves it the most.
Yeah. So thank you, Will.
Yeah.
And
My dad texted
Natalie.
me the other day and was like,
Will
who
Natalie,
did that?
Did what?
He was like, who came up, who made it?
Oh, the logo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just like thought it looked so cool and was like, did you have that?
No, that was Will.
Yeah.
So
Shout out Will.
Shout out Will.
We love you, Will.
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 Wow,
Will's gonna love that.
love it. Literally, Natalie put this here because I
Shout
forgot
out
the last
Will.
2 times.
I'm starting to love the Post-it notes that Natalie is leaving around the studio to remind us of things. The other one is like when the merch first
this
came
one?
when the merch first came out, she left mugs and hoodies to record on Thursday.
That one over there. Laying
things to have them promote. Shout out Will on pod.
That's gonna be Natalie's wall of notes.
Yep.
So Natalie, keep putting notes in here for us.
And like she's just the cutest. One's
She
got a
is.
heart on it. The other one's got a smiley face.
I think
You
one
can't
has.
see that in the camera actually, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, we have a wall of Natalie's notes now, so that'll be her corner. But let's get into our 3 perfectly
Yeah,
curated
let's do
segments. Wait, I should say what they are.
Oh wait, yeah. What are they? Right. Correct.
We said we had perfectly curated segments, but forgot how to do a podcast.
And one of them's not named. So.
Right. We have the Q&A AMA.
Which we are going to come up with a name
We are.
for.
And if
the
you have any
Q&A
ideas,
segment.
let us know.
Yeah.
We also have the Kardashian Korner, which won't be a it should just be a
could
segment
be.
at this point. But
Maybe
we're
we
gonna
just start putting all. We can't. The only problem is with that, you can keep the segment name. You just can't pick a day. Because
You never know.
You never know what day they're
Right.
going to pop off.
And honestly, I'm just as tired of talking about them as you guys are hearing about them. Like I love them, but I know people we see in the like people are like, you guys talk about the same things over and over again.
know.
It's like, well, when they are giving us things to talk about, we got to talk about it. And then we have a great interview with Jason Tartick talking about his new book. And we love Jason, we love Kaitlyn, so we are so happy that Jason came in and talked to us. So let's get into it. Starting off with the Q&A. You may have seen on our Instagram the other day, we took a lovely trip to the Dunkin pop-up in Flatiron. It was awesome. We sat down, we had donuts, we had iced coffee. I had a hazelnut iced coffee. I love hazelnut iced coffee. My mom used to drink hazelnut coffee when I was younger, and the smell of it's so fucking good. So we got that at the Dunkin pop-up shop. We also met some of you there, which was lovely. And right now, Dunkin is having this from March 23rd till April 26th, so it's still going on. You could score 2 medium Dunkin iced coffees in the Metro New York area for the special price of $5. The Dunkin pop-up is actually over now. Sorry to break that news to you guys. You can't go to the Dunkin' pop-up anymore, but you can still
you can
go to
get the
Dunkin'
deal.
and you can get the deal in the Metro New York area and get 2 medium Dunkin' iced coffees for the special price of $5. So what did Fran do? She paid $5. She gave her extra one to me. So stop by in New York for some iced coffee. Like we said, special deal 2 medium iced coffees for $5 until April 26th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first Q&A segment, which is really an AMA
TBD
today.
on the name.
Yes, and
I pitched Chick Chat
we can't.
What type of music should I have?
for the 9 millionth time.
For a little background story
On Chick Chat?
On Chick
Yes.
Chat, since we're going to be talking about some of these questions. Chick Chat is a segment that has been thrown around for fucking years now in this office. Like,
It's almost the name of the Snapchat show.
It was
Yes.
It was almost the name of the group chat, and Snapchat didn't fucking like chicks. They
Oh,
said
yeah.
no. Remember, they said no to chick.
we couldn't have chicks in the office as the Snapchat show name,
Yeah.
which is why it's called the group chat.
Yeah, because we couldn't have chick.
Yeah, they didn't like chicks, which is weird because that's the name of our show.
Yeah.
That's besides the point. Then Chick Chat was going to be a segment on there. Chick Chat has been thrown around so much.
So many times because it's just hilarious. It's like low hanging fruit where new people come in, whether on sales or production or whatever, and look, chicks, like it's clearly all the girls.
Yeah.
We joke about it. So every single time we'll have all these meetings where people are like, "So what do you guys think about the name Chick Chat?"
And we just want to run
we
out of
just
the building.
burst out laughing every time.
Yeah, and when new people come in here, like I know when they did like the girl yak for a little
Yeah.
bit, they were like, we might call this Chick Chat, and Fran had to step in and be like, guys,
I'm telling you right now,
don't use the
call
name
it Chick
Chick
Chat. Do not call it Chick Chat. And when we in our group chat of the three of us, when we were like, so we got to come up with a name for this, I was like, dare I say, it's time for Chick Chat.
it's just not. And if you comment and you say, guys, I think Chick Chat's a cute name, we're
It
still
was
not.
gonna be like we were gonna have a segment at one point where people called in. And
Yeah.
that was gonna be it, and then we didn't do it. Yeah.
That was also potentially going to be called Chick Chat.
Yeah.
We will never have a segment called Chick Chat as much
just a-
as
yeah.
just a good backup.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a good backup name. But let's get started with these questions. I went through the questions on Instagram. I picked 10 questions. They're all kind of personal questions about the three of us, just working
I'm
together.
ready to pass. On
No passing.
No
There's
passing.
No
That's not-
passing.
that's not
pass.
fair.
No
No, there's no
passing.
passing.
No
in
plead
this
the
game.
fifth.
I
no
wouldn't
nothing.
pick questions if you had to
Yeah.
pass.
All right, fine.
You know
go.
what I mean? I wouldn't pick out questions you have to pass on.
Also, like, we can't have a Q&A segment and then not answer the question.
not
I
answer
know,
our
I
own
know,
questions.
I know, but I didn't even know that I was.
Listen,
I thought it was just for you guys.
you're not
Well-
a part of every question, but
Okay,
there's
okay,
some
fine.
that include you, and I think that is only fair. People like to hear from you, and other people don't.
Oh yeah, I know. Well aware.
All right. So the first question was I just kept seeing this over and over again, so I think we get it out of the way. Was just
Yeah.
the Chicks in the Office origin story, and I think if you've been listening to this podcast from the beginning, you may know it and you may not know it. And there's also a ton of new listeners who maybe started listening last week or they maybe started listening last year. You
Yeah.
really never know when people jump on. We talk about it when we go on to other people's podcasts. They always ask us how it started, and recently Bachelor Happy Hour we went on, they asked us and we told like a short version of it. So I think we just talk about how it started.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go first. I was the first one to work
This
here.
is, yeah.
So this is how it usually
I-
goes.
Sometimes I do feel like the more we tell this story, the less and less organic it gets because we just say the same thing
Wait,
every
what
time.
month and year did all of us start?
I
Start with
started
that.
September 2016.
February 2017.
I think I was May 2017. I think.
Yes. So I will give a little background of how I started here. Yeah, everyone saddle up. No, I was going to school at FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology in the city. And don't laugh because I'm giving details.
I
No,
love
that's
no.
not fair.
I also love this too because we just got in at the right time where we get asked all the time like, oh, how do I get into the door at Barstool? And like we have the worst examples of how we got our jobs that it's just not how it works
It's
anymore.
just not. This is, and people are like, "Can you
Yes.
give it?" And I'm like, "This is not
like
how
I
you're
wish
going
I
to get
had
in."
better
Like,
advice because
right.
we just got lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
truthfully,
Same with me.
we got lucky
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form. But then, this isn't an accident. Obviously, we worked hard to create
For
this
sure.
show. But getting in the door is all very
Luck.
funny. Yeah, luck, I would say. So
Yeah.
I was
Good
at
timing and luck. Okay, go
I
ahead.
was at FIT. This is September 2016. And Glenn, aka Glenny Balls, who works here, I went to high school with. I've been friends with him now for over 11 years. We were very good friends in high school. I think that's also a little funny background, is that people thought that Glenn and I just like went to high school together. Like they don't realize how good of friends we really were. Like I was at Glenn's like almost every weekend. Like he was like that house that we all went to. And so we were really good friends, and he ended up getting an internship here at Barstool. It's when Barstool, their offices were in Boston, and they moved to New York in 2016 when Chernin acquired them, and they brought on Erica as a CEO, and they were like, we're going to move to New York. We're going to make it bigger, whatever. And they did their intern search right when they got to New York, and Glenn was one of those people that were in the first crop of interns. And so he was hired by Caleb, who is a fucking star. Like, let's just put Caleb is just, and if you don't know Caleb, please look him up, but I'm sure you do.
If you haven't watched the Hasbulla interview he did last week, is so good.
Caleb has seriously one of the best things going with Sunday Conversation. He's just so unique and funny. He always has been. So Caleb hired
weird brain,
very weird, very funny. He hired Glenn as his intern because Glenn ran fast.
Yeah.
So like this is what I'm saying. Like he made Glenn run on the street and was like, "You run fast, you're my intern."
Sheer dumb luck.
Yeah, and so.
Dave didn't even know, right?
Like,
he was like, "Oh, I hired him already."
Right. He was like, "I just hired him, whatever." And
Harry Potter. That's what I was saying.
Yes, and then
Professor McGonagall.
I texted Glenn, because I saw he got hired, and I texted him and I said, "Congrats, it's super cool." I had been following Barstool. I was a big Mets fan, which people don't realize, which is how I know about Barstool, is because I really was way more into sports before I worked here, which is very weird to say, but I think like once you like see. I don't know.
Actually, it's kind of funny that maybe we could argue that our sports background is actually what brought us here.
Because I only knew about Barstool because I followed KFC and Clem because of their Mets stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew what Barstool was. And so yes, I was a big Mets fan. But then it's weird. You start working here, you see like you meet people, athletes, whatever, and people are like die-hard fans here. So when you're not like that die-hard of a fan, you're like, can I even talk about that? It's just whatever. So I texted him, congratulated him, and he was like, it's funny you text me. There were no girl interns that they hired at the time, and really the only woman was Erica, CEO, and then they had like some business people, but he was like, they're looking for a girl intern. I'll let you know. They kind of mentioned it in passing, but I'll keep you updated. And I was like, that would be awesome. And I didn't really think anything of it. I thought that he would have never gotten back to me. But a week later, it was funny. I was in class. It was a Friday, and I was in class at FIT, and the office was like not too far. And he texted me and was like, can you come in right now? And I was like leaving class. I was like, actually, I'm down the block. Like I could come in right now. And Caleb and Big Cat FaceTimed me from Glenn's phone. And they were like, asked me a few questions. And then they were like, all right, come to the office. So I came to the office. I walked in. And the reason that Caleb wanted a second intern was because Caleb was going on the Natty tour.
Yeah.
So he was going to, he just hired Glenn as an intern, and then realized I don't have any work for Glenn to do. Yeah. And so Caleb was like, I need to bring in another intern to be Glenn's boss, but also my intern. Yeah. That was like the whole funny thing behind it. So I walked in, Caleb asked me a couple questions. He was like, all right, you're in, you're hired. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and this just happened so fast. And so I was Caleb's intern. Me and Glenn were both Caleb's interns, but we would like ask Caleb what he needed from us, and it'd be like, can you go to Chipotle and get my lunch? Like, it wasn't like Caleb had any hard tasks for us. And then he disappeared to go on the Natty tour. Yeah. And he would like text us and be like, how you guys doing? Like, there wasn't like anything specific intern work for Caleb. So Glenn and I were like, all right, well, we're just in this office. We just started asking other people around the office what they needed help with. I started helping like sales and business people. And then they just started throwing us into videos randomly. Like there were so many random videos at the time that they would just throw us in the background of, or like just make content. Back then they made content out of the interns way more than they do now. Like now you might not even see an intern that works here probably majority of the time.
That was my biggest fear when I was coming in to interview. I was like, I do not want to be like filmed, or like I was very worried about
because
it.
At that time, like Tommy Smokes was an intern, like Frankie Borelli, like we were all interns, Robbie Fox, but all became like content people. So I just started showing up every day, stopped showing up to school. I was also working as a pharmacy tech at the time, which I've mentioned plenty of times. Stopped showing up to that. And I was just like, I just want to be here every day. Like, everyone's so fun and cool. And like, I'm just having a good time. And who really, like, I started just getting a following on social media because I would tweet and Instagram.
You did the power rankings?
Yeah, I did the intern power rankings. Me and Glenn would start rating the people in the office, how they were working as interns. So we just do random things. And then because it was so much smaller at the time and there was only one floor and everyone was so in each other's face all the time, I think that our names got out there a lot more than they would now when an intern comes in, because it was like we had KFC and Big Cat, whatever, tweeting about us all the time because there was like 20 people in the office. Like, it wasn't anything.
The company was just like 1/8 the size it is right now.
It's not even close to how big it is. So we were lucky enough that we got in at that time, at a time where all these big names at Barstool were, they just wanted to help us, and they like would always give us ideas and tell us to do things. And then you came in.
Yeah.
Enter Fran.
Enter Fran. Scene, stage right. So I obviously love the Eagles, and therefore I followed Smitty, who's our, Philly guy, and I followed him, and he was coming to New York, and he posted about wanting an intern in New York to be in the office. I was in school. I sent in my resume, and he emailed me back and said, can you, be here? I'm making up a day because I don't remember, like Thursday, 9 a.m. Like we're testing a morning show. That's like what they wanted to do. Like, yeah, absolutely. I show up Thursday, 9 a.m. I introduced myself to Smitty. He's like, so I told like 5 other people to come at Thursday at 9 a.m. You're the only one who showed up. Either on time or just like actually came, or like actually, he joked like actually sent a real resume and not just like an email fucking with Smitty.
Yeah.
So we sat down in like one of the small podcast rooms. He asked me some questions. We talked. I told him like what I wanted to do. He asked if I could help with all these things. I said yes. And he was like, all right, great. I think you're hired. I was like, awesome. And then I stayed like the rest of the day. He was like, can you stay for drive time? As they did it on Facebook. That really shows how long ago it was. And it was, oh man, it was just Smitty, Riggs, like, so we're doing this show. I'm kind of behind the scenes. And then after a few weeks, they had me actually like on the mic a little bit more for drive time. So then I started to do more of that. And Rhea and I were the only ones there, young females, like trying to make content or like weaseling their way into content. And at first, everybody wanted us to hate each other. They thought Rhea was like going to eat me alive. I thought Rhea was going to eat me alive also for a little while. That changed. But and I'll never forget.
I know where you're going with this. I know, and it makes me like crawl out of my skin, but I also guess it's cute.
It is cute.
It is cute, but it makes me like crawl out of my skin.
It was on like it was like on like day 3. She messaged me on Twitter and was like
sitting right next to
hey,
her.
like,
I wasn't
No, it was like late at night.
No, don't.
I don't have it. I wish I did. Like, I really don't. I've tried to go back and look, and I don't think I have it anymore. And
see, I don't.
It's cute, but I'm so embarrassed of it. But I know that it's not bad.
Oh wait, I actually have it.
Stop! No.
Yeah, 'cause you don't.
Wow. So I actually started earlier than I thought. This was January 24th, 2017.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, so I actually just thought of a good idea that maybe me and you can work on while everyone's in Houston and not tell anyone about it and see where it goes. Houston for the Super Bowl. We can do something like a spin on a brunette and a blonde with an inseparable bond. And we can name it like brunette and a blonde something. And think of funny things we could do together for video segments. I thought that was very cute. I said, hi, yeah, that's awesome. That's an awesome idea. We could definitely do some funny stuff. And then I said, also, my number is, and I gave you my cell phone number.
Wow.
If you wanted to text me.
I didn't want that to be the name of it, obviously, but I was like, we should do something fun together. a play on that. I'm sorry. I'm very embarrassed, but I'm happy I did that in the long run.
I am too.
Clearly.
Yeah. I think it's so, and it's funny because for some reason, like we have, that's like our only Twitter DM. And then,
I mean, I don't think people talk on Twitter that much.
I DM'd you again January of 2021 because my phone broke. And that was all. Other than that, than that, that's the only time we had ever communicated on Twitter.
And I think it was because everybody had gone to.
Isn't that kind of crazy? Like 2 of my biggest relationships in my life have actually kind of started from a Twitter DM.
Did your relationship with
remember Joe DM'd me on Twitter after the weekend we met because he didn't ask me for my phone number?
And I was with you. Yeah. We were at work.
Yeah.
Why Twitter, not Instagram?
Twitter was way more popular
at the time. Like that. So that was January 2017. I met Joe May 2017. So like it was just bigger, I think.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't. And I think my Twitter, like, I think his thought process was she's more likely to maybe see something on Twitter.
Right. Yeah, I'm embarrassed, but I'm not
following
embarrassed
was not
of
huge
that,
at that time
DM.
No, not at all.
I think
it's a great DM.
I think it's a great thing that.
And honestly,
I did that.
We should frame that DM.
No, I know we should.
No.
So really, Chicks in the Office was very close to being called a bond and a bond with an inseparable bond.
That was never going to be the name.
That would have been tough. That would have been tough to keep since you've changed your hair like 100 times.
I know.
Right.
Yeah,
but it was just whatever. You know what I was implying.
No, it was super cute. I love it. And then from there we just meshed and started to do stuff together.
I think we really meshed over Bella Thorne.
Bella Thorne was the first
Snapchat.
Bella Thorne Snapchat.
Fred and I would sit on the couch and we'd talk about it all the time together, and we just realized we both like pop culture and celebrities and would always talk about it, and we were like, what, like, we should just do something together. And then I remember KFC had us, he was like, why don't you guys just answer questions from KFC radio and like we'll film
my
it.
Favorite almost one of my favorite, that's up there is one of my favorite Chicks in the Office videos we've ever done, is that first one.
The emoji.
The
baby emoji.
That was because I was KFC's intern at the time.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, like these 2 girls like who were, I mean, I knew who you were, but I didn't really know who you were. And they were like, they want to do a video. So they gave it to me.
What were your initial thoughts? Like when you got moved to like doing our stuff, were you like,
well, it wasn't ever like you're doing this and you're not doing our stuff. I was like doing it on the side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, I was just like, oh, okay. Like I was trying to make this as good as it can be. Like I wasn't like.
Here's the thing. So
I think Kevin sometimes regrets like passing you over to us because you are so good. Yeah, I think he was like, oh shit, like Noah's really good.
Right. We snatched you up, and you've been our one and only producer. We never had anybody else work on this. It's always been us 3, which I think is really cool.
You know what? And I really never thought about that so much until we had that meeting the other week with Brandon. No one knows what that means, but the 5 of us, and when he was like, you guys are maybe one of like the actual closest group working together. I had not really thought about that and was like, wow, that's actually pretty true. We're very like we're tight knit.
It has never been anybody else. Like there was never
there isn't like
from the first video,
and we very closely vet the people that we do. That we do.
Well.
That's for future AMA.
Future AMA. We'll talk about that. But so it's been us from the beginning, and then I think people now then know the story. It went from the Chicks in the Office on the Instagram. We did the 1-minute videos. Then it went to the radio, and then we went to a podcast. We had the Snapchat show. So from there, it just elevated. And I think we realized that because we just made the Instagram, and I'll clarify what I meant on that DM to Fran was that everyone was in Houston for the Super Bowl. I was kind of down, I guess. At the time, I don't know why the fuck I would have been invited, but Glenn was invited to go. Yeah. And so I was like, how the fuck is, you know what I mean? Like I was just like, and I actually remember Erica they all came back from the Super Bowl and they were like, don't worry, like you'll have, don't worry, like you'll have your time one day. Like man, I was like, will I? Yeah. But I just remember being like, you know what, I have to do something. Like I can't just like sit around and expect to be invited places like when I don't do anything. Yeah. And I also knew that we had to grow something before we could just be like, hey Dave, we're doing this. So I remember we grew the Instagram and then we grew it to a certain point. We had a goal and we were like, let's get it to this point.
I think we wanted to hit 10,000, right? And then we're like, we'll take it to Dave.
I remember the day that Gaz, who like I had never like really talked to at that point, came up to me and was like, hey, so Dave like likes these videos that you guys are doing, like And then he's like, yeah, so we're going to start putting it on like the main, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, shit.
Right. I remember because I went to Dave and I was like, hey, we've been like working on this quietly, kind of. Just didn't want to just be like, hey, do you think it's okay if we do this? Which I think is also the same motto now, is that like do something, build it up. And then if it works, then it'll work. I think that's always been how it is. And so we did that. And he was like, oh, yeah, it's clearly working. Like, that's cool. Like, let's put it up everywhere. And then it kind of just elevated from there, which is kind of crazy to think about. And also within 2 weeks of posting those videos, The Amazing Race reached out to us. And I think that's when we realized we were like, oh, we might have something here, because The Amazing Race, and I don't even want to get, that's a whole other story for
I was on vacation and I had
we could literally have a whole hour on The Amazing Race.
Selfishly, the next Q&A we should just make the topic The Amazing Race and then just talk about ourselves the whole time.
Right. Yeah. Or the second we'll do another AMA, and then after that we'll get into topics, because my God, we could have a whole hour on The Amazing Race, but we won't. And now I know people are going to want to know the story because we just brought it up. But long story short, Fran and I did fucking fly to LA and stay in a hotel together for 7 days, a hotel room together, and not be able to leave it for 7 days. So that's a whole story
we're only
for another
on question
time.
1 right now.
Yeah, and we've been talking for a while. So that's the Chicks of the Office origin story. The second question kind of, I think, goes off of that a little bit, was I truly admire both of you for continuing to be genuine and authentic. And this is like a compliment to us.
There's all compliments.
Love it.
No, but I thought it was a good question, because I thought about it the other day. As Chicks in the Office becomes more and more well known, how do you keep yourself grounded? I think this is something Fran and I pride ourselves on, is that we are very normal. Like, so normal. And it's so weird to say, because we feel normal.
I'll be honest, I think, and this is not to come off like cocky or anything, it's just, I love like what we do, and the cool opportunities we get from it are really cool, but it's not what I thrive off of.
Yeah.
Neither of us.
No.
You know, like we get invited to stuff that we don't go, like we get invited to cool stuff that we don't go to because we're like, we're lazy. Maybe it's just because we're lazy.
Yeah, that's what it is, because I'll go.
Yeah, but no, but we don't strive for that like famous lifestyle.
Yeah, like I never went into this being like, my goal is to be famous.
Yeah.
Where I want to be known and people follow me and know everything about me. Like that was never my intention. So when those things like start to happen, it just doesn't interest me as much.
And we talk about it all the time, where we're like, we might be two of the only people with some morals. Like, we're like, not like that, but you know what I mean.
Our families, our friends, our relationships, like I think those have all helped us, where like my family, your family are very quick to be like, hey, let's like, you think you're cool and all, but you're not that cool.
Oh yeah, I've had that conversation plenty of times with my family. Where
yeah, exactly.
Like, shut the fuck up.
It's like, we get it, but you're still like you. Right. And when I envision my life, like later in life, I never felt like, oh my God, I want this big lifestyle and be doing all those things. Like I still like, I envision my life and I'm like, I want to have a career that I love, like be a mom, like be in a good relationship. Like those crazy things were just never on my radar.
I don't have an interest. And it's actually, the more and more I see it, is the less interested I get in it.
Yeah.
The crazy LA lifestyle. Yeah. We've seen it. We've been around it. I also think that
I can't live my life on social media that. I would go insane.
No, and also then you kind of toe the line of like, what's my real life and what's my social media life, and then also, am I making decisions in my real life based off of like what people think on social media? I can't live like that. Props to the people who do, but I can't do it. I know you can't do it.
No.
I think that also we become friendly with the people that have been on our show, guests and stuff, because they do realize that we're not looking for something from them, right? Like we're not like trying to use them or clout chase. Like I think that people can feel that we're genuine, and I am proud of us for that, because I do think that we could act like assholes, but we don't.
That's definitely true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's people, like, sometimes you're just like, that person's such a huge asshole.
Yeah.
And for what reason? Like,
the entitlement that sometimes people feel for like having a lot of followers on social media, I just think is so misplaced.
Right. And I'll give an example because it was kind of recently. We were in LA for the Super Bowl, and obviously LA is like just that place. And we went out somewhere, and I left within 5 minutes. Like,
I didn't get in.
Noah. So that pissed me off. Noah didn't get in.
I
Like
didn't expect
the
it.
whole classic, like who even are
Right.
you?
So
like blah, that shit is
that kind of. And I had said to Noah, like, because everyone was like, Noah might not get in, blah blah.
Well,
And I had said to Noah,
I could barely get into the place before that.
and
that
I
you
was
guys
just
were at.
like, this is really pissing me off. Like, that put me in a bad mood. And then we were in there, and within 5 minutes, I was like, I'm so uncomfortable with these people. I actually hate them. Like, there were some guys there, I won't name names, that were physically pushing Devin and I, like, actually physically pushing us. We were at this table that, like, we were told, we were told to be, like, we were there. Like, it wasn't like we just stepped up on a table and, like, weren't invited to be there. Like, but other guys there didn't know us or whatever, and physically were pushing us at the table. And we looked at each other and said, let's get the fuck out of here. I would rather go hang out with our friends at work that we know and love, and, like, we can just have a good time with them. And we went back to the hotel and just ate McDonald's and smoked with them and, like, had a great night. And I was like, fuck those people.
Yeah.
And so you see that and you're just like, ugh, you just get disgusted. And these people think they're so cool. Like, they're, like, filming all of it.
Let
and they're
me
like,
tell you something.
and it's the only thing they do the whole time. Like, when I go out, I don't put any stories up or anything, because I just genuinely like to go out with my friends. Maybe I'll throw up one here or there, just like my outfit or something. But
the
these
people that you're
just
watching,
live.
the people that you're watching where you're like jealous of like their nights. It's not as fun.
Or
as
just,
it
like,
looks.
on their phone.
Yeah, they're literally on their phone filming everything.
Promise you, it's not as fun as it looks.
No, they're not in the moment at all. It's crazy, and I hate that when people go out and they just, like, record everything. It's like, why'd you even come out to record it on your phone? So, we're not interested in that. The third question is, what was the biggest fight that me and you got into regarding the show? Is there a topic in pop culture that we had, like, a full-blown argument about?
I remember one.
There's definitely one. Why can't I think of what it was about?
I remember one that's, like, just, it's so ridiculous, but it was, like, in the old office very early on, probably, like, 2018, and it was, like, you mispronounced banana or something, and you guys got in, like, the biggest fight ever.
I was gonna say that, banana.
And, like,
we literally, like, didn't speak to each other.
Well, we started yelling at each other on radio.
Yeah.
No, but it was, like, this was not live.
That was on radio, though, no?
This was off air, because I remember we were genuinely
and
really
then you were like,
mad.
cut that, and then, like, I watched it back because I was like, that was ridiculous.
What was the premise of that, though?
I think it was just like you
we were
mispronounced
just saying
it.
it differently?
You were just like arguing about how to pronounce.
I think we were just arguing about how to pronounce banana. Like, I think I say banana, you say banana.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's starting again. Yeah. She was like, you say
banana.
Okay, I'm not getting back into it, but yes, I do remember this, and I do remember getting, like, very angry.
Has there been, like, something pop? I feel like there has been, and I don't know.
Pop
I can't
culture.
remember.
Sometimes we'll get into tiffs, I would say, not even full-blown arguments, because we have, like, a different outlook on, like, what should or shouldn't be talked about, but not like personal opinions. Like, we may agree on how we feel about it, but whether we talk about it or not.
I kind of feel like The Bachelor and things that happen on The Bachelor might be the biggest things that we disagree on sometimes.
Yeah.
But, like, nothing crazy.
No. There's nothing that we've, like, gone, like, days without talking to each other or something like that. Like, we get over it.
We've had more, I think, you versus me than you guys versus each other.
Me and you?
No, not you, me. Like, but like you guys.
Oh,
against me.
us versus you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say me and you.
In the early days, there was definitely a lot more passive aggressiveness from all of us.
Yeah.
We've gotten over that.
I also was way moodier, I would say. I mean, I think all three of us have changed in some ways, but I was definitely.
But even, like, I've joked about it, like, when we were just in LA, not this past one, but when we were there for the PCAs, and we had that whole fight about the equipment I went into my room.
And you, like, hid in your bedroom.
I just went into my room.
And he went in his bedroom, and we were like, is he fucking serious? Like, I actually do agree that there are times where it's mostly Fran and I against Noah.
Yeah.
And it's like, But then it ends up being fine.
Yeah.
But when Rhea agrees with Fran, I know I'm like, there's no winning. So I'm like, all right. Like,
yeah.
Because then I don't have anyone on my side. Like,
right. I do agree with you sometimes.
But once I was in the room, I'm like, I can't come out
right.
now. Like,
yeah, you're
except
like,
Devin like knocked on the door, like, we're ordering food. I'm like, all right.
Fine, I'll get something, Mom.
It's like hilarious when you like throw a tantrum and then you're like, well, now I'm fucking stuck in my
right.
room.
And you don't mean it, and you reflect on the tantrum. You're like, why did I act that way? That's happened to me a number of times. If you guys weren't at Barstool or in this job, what would you be doing?
I have no fucking idea. I could be anywhere. I do think like the entertainment industry is always where I wanted to be, either that or sports. So I could have seen myself going into maybe more of like the business side of things. I could see myself working in like digital marketing or something like that. I was finishing school for journalism, so I would hope I would be somewhere in this field. I never I don't even have like when I was younger I really wanted to be this, because when I was younger I really wanted to do this. Like right. I say this all the time. I wanted to be Erin Andrews. Like I wanted to like be a sideline reporter.
No, that makes sense. I clearly wanted to be an actress growing up, but that's not what I would say I'd be doing, because when I was going to school, I kind of gave up that dream of becoming an actress. I wanted to be a casting director.
Yeah.
So hopefully something in film behind the scenes, I would say. You know what's really weird? I was thinking about this morning because I knew that we were going to be doing this, but there was, when I went to Pace, so I went to Pace for a semester, dropped out, went to FIT, dropped out. But I was at Pace and I was studying film, and there was a class where we had to like write what we thought we would be doing 5 years from now, and then get up in front of the class and present it as if it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's really weird, but I got up in front of there and I was like, I started at HBO as an intern, and I came up with this great idea, and they loved my idea so much that they hired me, and now I'm like at the top of the company at HBO. And I remember my teacher being like, you said that as if that's really happening.
Yeah.
And it's weird because if you just change the name of the place, it's like, what happened? Very weird. I feel like sometimes I speak things into existence. Noah, what would you be doing?
Spooky.
Probably I studied TV and film at Syracuse, but I always just thought like film, but I always knew like it's hard to get your foot in the door in like actual film, even though all my friends are in LA. Like I was planning to move to LA until I got the internship. But I think like producer, like
Noah
ESPN
went to also, I don't know if you care, but Noah went to Newhouse, which is, very prestigious as far as communication schools go.
Noah's a very prestigious
No,
guy.
I don't know if people know that or not, so.
Yeah, shout out Syracuse.
Yeah.
No, I think something like I always thought like, oh, maybe ESPN, I would be a producer or like something like that, but kind of same. I didn't really know anything about podcasts before I stared here, so it was kind of new to me.
Like, I don't think any of us wanted to do a podcast, but we were like, when somebody suggested that the three of we do a podcast for Chicks in the Office, we were like, nobody's going to listen to our podcasts.
But even like when I was like on KFC's intern, like starting there, I was like, I don't even know like what goes into a podcast. Like,
isn't it funny that like the sports fandom can be so deep rooted? Like both my parents went to Georgetown, so they hated Syracuse so much. And when I was looking at schools coming out of high school, like I was looking at all the big communication schools that had big broadcast journalism programs, Penn State, like all the and when Syracuse came up, like we were like, no, can't do it. Like solely because of that reason. It's like so stupid.
I wish there were any sort of college fandoms in my family, but nobody went to college besides my sister. Well, congrats, Nicole.
That's
on
when
the
you can.
diploma, because I think you might be the only one.
That's when you can pick whatever you want.
Pace at one point to make up, because I had to make up like I just took it because summer they don't care, and I took like the hard classes like math.
Yeah, and that's just so you can pass and get the credits.
Got the credits.
Yep.
Noah has to say 3 nice things about Rhea and Fran.
This isn't a question.
And then Rhea and Fran about Noah.
Oh my! Like that's I like.
You want us to skip?
Well, it's just like on the spot. Like I like what would I?
On the spot, nice I'll say it about you. I think you're very hardworking, and good at your job. Very good at your job. Like actually, one of the best, if not the best, producer here, in my personal opinion. And I'm not being biased. I think that like people wish they had Noah.
I agree with you on that.
Number 2. I think that Noah is, for people, you may think that, you know, Fran and Noah argue or whatever it may be. Noah has to work with 4 girls, and I think he manages it way better than many other people would, especially when it was just Fran and I, and he had to manage just 2 like moody girls.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten easier with the bigger, like the more people. It's not just you versus me.
Like we give you shit, but it's like you also have to think about the fact that you have to deal with us, you know? Yeah. And I think that Noah has become way more trustworthy.
I don't know what that means. It makes me sound like I wasn't at one point.
No. I just think that maybe just because we've become closer, but I think that I would like trust maybe not with my entire life, but like half of it. You know,
half of it. Okay.
Half of it.
You know what I'm saying.
Mine are very similar, but Noah's a perfectionist, which is, you know, maybe sometimes can be a bad thing, but is mostly a good thing because that it just shows through his work how much he cares about it.
This is so uncomfortable.
we won't make you say it about us. We'll just compliment you.
No, he's got joint things, maybe 3 things about the 2 of us together.
We're so
Come
different,
on.
though. All right.
It's a question. We said we were going to.
You're right. No pass.
I do think you're a good listener because you do have to listen to us blabble all the time. Mm-hmm. So I think you are a very good listener. And I mean, it comes into like the perfectionist thing, but it is the hardworking aspect, which is what you said. But I do agree with you on that.
And sometimes we'll be like, no, you're gonna crush it. No, you're crushing it. And he's like, why are you guys saying that? It's like, well, because
that
sometimes
was like before the last live.
Yeah, we kept being like, we're gonna be so fucking nice to Noah. But I think everybody deserves to be reminded a little bit.
I just think like we get a lot of praise sometimes from like, look where you guys started and where you are now and like what you've been doing. And Noah's been with us for the exact same amount of time and has like the same trajectory.
Yeah. And I also don't think that you could just like throw someone in Noah's spot and it be like all good. Like I think that Noah has his own.
I think we'd have a disaster.
Yeah, I think Noah has his own system worked out. I think that he has
the workflow.
Yeah, the workflow. Like I think
good industry term.
Yeah, he's helped us tremendously. So thanks, Noah.
Wow, thanks guys.
Yeah, no problem.
So do I have to say something now?
Yeah. What do you think about
3
us?
things?
One thing about each of us.
I wish I like if I came prepared
what about one
with
thing,
like
one thing about each of us.
Come on.
We can't expect you to be that nice.
Yeah. One thing.
I mean, I guess
it's like pulling teeth. He's like,
I'm just trying to think like what I say like
behind our backs.
No, I'm trying to think about like
I thought it would be easier.
No, it's just on the spot. It's like, oh, you guys are nice. No, I mean, that's not what it is. But, I mean, I could just be like, you guys are very talented at your jobs. Obviously, that's kind of the same thing you just said about me. Like, I don't think you could just like fill in 2 girls. Like, obviously.
I think that's nice.
Nice.
We'll take it.
Take it. That's a compliment.
Thank you. We can leave it at that.
Yeah.
How about this? I'll come more prepared with maybe more compliments.
Maybe by the end. Time. Maybe by the end of this, you'll have
a whole
more
new
compliments
segment
about
of
us.
compliments.
Yeah.
Now this is just a favorite thing about each other. So like your favorite thing about me, my favorite thing about you.
Oh, okay.
My favorite thing about you, and this is off the bat. I have many of things that are my favorite about you, Fran. But my favorite thing about you is that I think you have a great head on your shoulders, and I think that. I not going to college and not really, like I talk about this all the time, but like I had my friend group in high school, right? And then everyone left and went to college. And then I had like one friend that stayed back on Long Island with me. And then I started at Barstool right away. And so like everyone here kind of became like my college and my friends. And I think that having you as a guidance in my life for the past 5 years has been a great thing. I think you've taught me a lot of things. I think you have a great head on your shoulders. Fuck. I really do. Like, you're so, like,
Fuck.
I go to you when I'm
not crying. No,
I am, because when something happens to me, my first reaction, this happened the other day, I was like, I need to go to Fran.
Yeah.
Like, that's every time, it's like, I need to go to Fran and ask her what she thinks about this. Because for myself, I'm an extreme person.
Yeah.
My mood, I'm like really happy. I'm really sad. Like my mood, you're always like in the middle. Like you know what I mean? Like
just okay.
No. Like she's very just even keeled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you always have a good head on your shoulders. and you've been a great guidance for me for the last 5 or 6 years of my life.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet. You're
welcome.
I do pride myself on that as well, because I have felt that, like, and I feel it in our relationship all the time, where I do, and I love being that person in people's lives, and I think that's why I act like that too, because I like being that soundboard. And yeah, that's why it's like the highs are highs for you, the lows are lows for you, and like I can bring it in this way.
That's just kind of person I am.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that is one of my favorite things about you, because I think despite all the shit that you have gotten from being here, starting so young, where it was up and down for a while, where I do feel like you had kind of lost yourself a little bit. Now, one of my favorite things about you is that you are very authentically yourself, where like you used to worry more like, oh, if I say this, are people not going to like it or not going to like me? Now I feel like you let it fly a lot more. And you are also a phenomenal friend. I don't think people give you enough credit for that sometimes. Like, I know, and no matter what situation I am in, whatever time of day it is, like, I could text you and call you and know that you're going to answer. Like, I don't think I've ever had to worry, like, oh my God, shit just hit the fan. Like, I have to talk to someone. Oh, I can't talk to Rhea. She's, like, doing something. She won't be available. Like, you make yourself available at all times.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I actually, that is something I pride myself on, as being a very loyal
good friend.
I think I'm loyal to a fault sometimes. That's a whole other issue. But because I do stuff for people sometimes, like friends. Yeah. And they're like, you didn't have to do that. And I'm like, why? Like, one of the comments was like, would you get into a physical fight for one another? And I know the answer for you. Would I fight someone for you physically? Yes. Would you fight someone for me physically? You can't say yes right away, which is fair. I can't say yes very right away.
Depends on how bad
it is.
That's
a good thing. I'll add that to where I just like couldn't come up with anything for you guys, but like I do feel like as much shit as we give each other, we would have each other's back. Like at the end of the day, like where you guys would have my back.
100%. Like,
and like I've seen it.
We can shit on you, but other people can't shit on you.
Yeah. No, like I've seen you guys stand up.
I reamed out Kelly Martin for yelling at Noah the other day. I called her on the phone and was like, don't fucking yell at our producer in front of anyone ever again. And we love Kelly Martin, so I can talk to her like that because of how she talks to us. But yeah, we could shit on each other, but I think when it comes down to it, it's like, we would have each other's backs. This also goes, I like how these questions kind of all go off each other a little bit. What is something that Noah and Fran have agreed on?
There's plenty.
I know, but I want people to hear that.
That is very funny because, look, at the end of the day, if we didn't agree on things, this show just wouldn't work.
Yeah. Exactly. People just don't see that.
The show would come to a screeching halt because we couldn't agree on anything. Like, there are plenty of things. You guys have
probably agreed on stuff against me.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yes, and there have been times also, like, I just think vision-wise or where we see like this video going or this thing going, like where I have an undying like trust in Noah to make the video good. Like he's made videos and vlogs and stuff where I'm like, I don't even have to watch this because I know it's fine and I trust him to put good stuff in there and like know that it's funny. Like I have no. If we didn't have that, like this show just wouldn't work.
Yeah,
so we do agree on a lot of stuff.
That's like a big thing. It's like the trust. I think it's just of us starting at the same time.
Yes.
Like we've done everything. Yeah. So that like, I think a lot of other brands like kind of have to like go back and forth and like go through the videos, but we just trust each other to like, you guys are good in front. Yeah. And then we handle everything back.
Yeah. And we also bring in Natalie and Devin, who we also all trust. Like, it takes a lot for us to be like,
probably my
so hard.
Worst quality is like trusting people. And so like the fact that I can just like trust Natalie at this point to like, I don't even have to really watch her videos.
Right.
So.
How do we prep for interviews?
It depends on the person.
Remember how we used to when we first started?
It's changed dramatically.
I'll say this, I'm a big off-the-cuff person.
You are, and I think that gives us the best results sometimes, but that is also why it works, like, as a pair. If we were doing interviews individually, we would have to prep so differently, but, like, we bring different things, which is why it works a lot of the time, and it just depends. Like, we have so many people on where we watch every episode of the show that they're on, so we don't really need to prep that much because we literally, for fun, watch everything that they're on. So like, Craig comes here and we're like, we know everything that's going on.
Didn't look up a single
We
fucking
know,
thing about Craig. I already knew it.
Yes, like I went through the book. Like this is like the thing, and so, and then there's some that when we get these big stars that sometimes we're more nervous. Then yes, we go through, but it's less like physically writing down questions and more just doing research beforehand. I would say, like, why are they in the news? Like, what's going on? Check their socials, their Instagrams, their Twitters, like things like that, and then kind of just try and have a conversation.
It comes off way better because when we first started, I don't think any of us really knew like how to interview.
No.
But like, I kind of
Noah wrote our questions.
No, but I was gonna say, like, when I first started, I was just like, oh, like I don't. At that point, I still was like trying to figure out what a producer does, and I'm like, oh, I have to like make it seem like I know what I'm doing. So I just like wrote. It was like research, but I ended up writing questions like, and you would read some of them like just off the sheet, and it didn't like sound natural. Almost, like.
And then I think we realized that because now nothing like. Noah does not give us anything for interviews or anything, and that's he does it, but that's because we want to just have it be ourselves, because hate to break it to you, there are a lot of shows that you guys listen to that are producer written and scripts are given to people, and the questions are not coming from the people asking them, and I don't think that would be like authentic. I think it would just we'd just be stealing things, right? Like. So I am a huge off the cuff person a lot of times. And for the podcast itself, like, we don't write things down either. Like, we just talk. We have the topics we're going to talk about, and then we just go off the cuff in our heads of what we want to say. Like, when you plan stuff to say, it just doesn't come off authentic. And I think you would be able to tell. What is an embarrassing story that randomly pops into your head and ruins your day? This happens to me all the time.
Like from work? No,
like just like as a kid, like anything. Like, I have stories that I go, ugh.
I'm trying to think.
I got one off the top of my head. I could tell.
Do it.
I don't even know if I've ever told this story before, and it also is my least favorite thing to talk about.
Okay.
You know what it is?
I do. Poop. Oh.
Have I told this story before?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, when do you ever tell stories about poop?
Never. But I feel like now would be the time because it's extremely embarrassing.
Okay.
I was at a fair. I think I was in like seventh grade.
Yeah.
I was at a fair, and my friend's dad picked us up from the fair, and he was driving me home, and I was in the back seat.
How old?
Seventh grade. And I was wearing white shorts, and this is just so classic, whatever. And I had to go to the bathroom so fucking bad, like literally. So it just hits you, and like there's nothing.
There's nothing you can do.
I literally pooped my pants in the back of the car.
That's insane.
Literally pooped my pants in the back of the car. I think about this and I'm like,
I can confidently say I have.
That's the one and only time.
Maybe never done that.
Pooped my pants in the back of the car. Got out of the car. Ran.
Did it smell?
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah.
Ran upstairs in my house to the bathroom. Showered. Whatever. The next day we were going to the beach with the same car, same dad driving us, and I like got in the car and like made sure that there wasn't any like staining on the seat. Like I took my beach towel and I was like, it's whatever. Man. That's a story that comes to my head often because of how much I hate talking about that, and also because that's the one time it's ever happened to me, and also maybe that's why I hate it so much.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason.
I mean, I have tons of like embarrassing things, but I feel like more sometimes I just cringe at how awkward I was when I was little, just because I was very awkward. And maybe it's just because you said seventh grade, it's making me think of this, but like I so did not know how to speak to boys, like at all, for a very long time in my life. And there was like I'd get so embarrassed like in real life. Like I had a boyfriend in like later in middle school, I think like 8th grade, and there would be times like Friday after school where we'd have planned hangouts, like me and Claire are going downtown, like he and his friends would go downtown, and we would like on our flip phones the main street in town, and then like there's the libraries on one side and a park behind the library. And we would like get a sandwich, like whatever, walk around. And like there was multiple occasions where I would get so nervous, and I went to school with him, like in class, like saw him every day. But in this setting, I would get so nervous that I would get a text and he'd be like, I'm behind the library. And me and Claire would be like, oh my God, we can't go. Like, so I would say like, oh, I'm in the front of the library. And then he would come to the front of the library. And when he did that, I would go to the back of the library.
Just to avoid?
And just to avoid him for like hours.
I feel like that's so relatable though.
And then the last text, I would just be like, oh, sorry, my mom came to pick me up.
Oh my God.
Like maybe next time.
When did you have your first kiss?
In 8th grade.
In 8th grade? Yeah.
In 8th grade, on the school bus, to terrible place for a first kiss.
Was it a kiss or a makeout?
Oh, a kiss.
Okay.
Kiss. Back of the bus, school trip, 8th grade, like around people, obviously. My mom was a chaperone on the trip. She was in
oh my God. She was actually probably so proud.
She was sitting in the front. I don't think I told her in the moment.
She would be so proud.
I don't know if she even knows that. It was
I miss a school bus. Those were fun. Sit in the back, all the cool kids.
Yeah,
there
was we went to, our class trip was to go to Baltimore. So we went to a baseball game and he had like his hand around, like not on me, but like just like around the back of the chair. And one of my good family friends, his dad was also chaperoning, so it was the two of them together, him and my mom, and he's like hitting my mom, being like, do you see what he's doing? Like, what do you see that what's happening? And like mom was like, literally leave her alone, like they're not even touching.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
That's so funny to just think about those. Ugh.
I know.
I missed my missed
like
his
so
mouth.
painfully awkward. I was like that for quite some time.
Really?
Yes.
Till how? Like
Maybe
how, high
like
school too?
I think like junior year of high school, beginning of junior year of high school, I kicked it a little bit.
Why do you
better.
think that was?
She was obsessed with Nick Jonas.
I just didn't really have like an example.
That's a good point.
Oldest.
You know,
oldest
I'm
child.
the
It's
yeah.
oldest. Yeah.
I was the oldest, and I didn't have any like fast friends, like you know. So I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like
Right.
You didn't go to an all girls.
I went to an
you
all girls
did?
school.
Oh, you
I mean,
did.
I went to school with boys till 8th grade, but
Yeah.
my class in 8th grade was 26 kids.
That makes a lot of sense.
So
The whole
the whole 8th grade was like 26 kids.
crazy.
I'm thankful I had an older sister.
Yeah. So I kind of was flying blind, and it wasn't where I was like super. I talked to my mom a lot, but not like in grave detail.
Yeah, like not getting like boy advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Those were uncomfortable times.
Yep.
I remember in 9th grade.
I had like a Cinderella story moment of like cute, popular boy in high school dating me and making me cool.
Really?
Yeah.
You think he made you cool, or you?
No,
made yourself
I
cool?
made myself cool
Yeah.
for sure. But
That's right.
it helped.
I know what you mean.
It helped.
I was like seen as like very
Were you
prude
cool
in 9th grade.
in high school?
Yeah.
You were. Yeah.
And no, here's
The
the
way she
thing.
went,
You know, this is actually funny. I've talked about this with Trent because people always, like, you hear all the time, they're like, I was like bullied in high school, or like I was such a loser,
you've
like
talked about this
whatever.
before, yeah.
And like I just can't. I know this sounds like such an asshole thing for me to say. I know,
Yeah.
but I can't say that I was.
Rhea might have bullied me in high school.
No, I did not. Here's the thing,
She
though.
would have looked down
No,
on
no.
me.
But I will say this: I was friends with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I was not bullied, and whatever. But I was definitely friends with everybody.
Have you seen those TikToks where it's like a girl, like they're reenacting like high school, and it's like the popular girl talking to like the non-cool kids just as a joke for her friends to be like, why don't you hang out with us?
Yeah.
Like,
No, that was never me. My friends would always be like, how the fuck are you friends with this kid? Like, I would be like talking in the hallway to some kid or whatever, and they'd be like, how are you guys friends? And I'd be like, he's in my class. Like, I just talk a lot, so
Yeah.
I talk to everybody.
I
but
also do that.
I will say this, like, I wasn't bullied, but girls were like mean to me a lot of times. Like, I quit cheerleading because
Yeah.
I know it's so like whatever, but I literally quit cheerleading because girls like made fun of me, which is such a weird thing to make fun of, but they like found I sound like such an asshole. I really do, and I'm really not trying to. But this is just what happened. I was like on TV for a fashion show because I still did the acting and modeling, but I never told anybody about it when I was a kid because my parents were like, people are gonna be mean to you if you tell them. So I only told my best friend ever. Nobody else knew. These girls found video of me on TV at a pasta party, and they were like in the bathroom making fun of me, or whatever. And after that, I was like, fuck this. Like, I quit because I was like, these girls are just like being mean to me for not even a reason to be mean.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
That
Now
just took
I
a
feel-
turn to talk about high school.
No, I know, but now I feel like an asshole because he said, "Were you cool in high school?" And I said, "Yeah."
Well,
What was the way you said yes?
Oh, but the reason I brought up Trent was because Trent.
Look, there had to be some people that were cool in high school.
And Trent was like, "Yeah, I was fucking cool in high school." Like I remember talking. Maybe this might have been on Friday Night Pints where
Yeah.
we were like,
I feel like
"Yeah,
Trent
sorry, we
was
were
a
trying."
different human. Like,
I think Trent was fucking cool.
he was just like
Football
I can see him like,
player.
wearing
50
a
Cent.
varsity jacket.
Yeah,
like,
he loved 50 Cent, played football.
100%. All right, next question.
This is the last one.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
We've done 10?
This is 9. No, this is 10 actually.
Oh, wow,
This is
okay.
10. What would your tagline be if you were a Real Housewife?
Oh.
And I actually I got some help while I was sitting at my desk. And I wish
Yeah.
she would have been there because I asked Kelly Keegs what she thought mine would be. And she came up with a good one for me.
Okay.
She said, if you're going to step into my kitchen, you better know how to stir the sauce.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, I said that was
That's
good.
a really good one.
And she said hers would be, knock, knock, the drama's here.
Oh my God. I don't know what mine would be. It's very hard to come up with your
it on the
own.
spot. Yeah, and your own,
And
right?
your own, like,
But
it's
I'm
good
going
without-
to try to think of yours.
Yeah. Like,
Wait, what is the question?
Like
Your
your
Real
Real
Housewives
Housewives tagline.
tagline.
Like when they say what's the intro? It would have to be something smart. I would think like
I'm trying to think of something that would, like,
something about always being right.
yeah. It's like, it could literally be like,
I may not always.
No, I feel like it would be like, oh shit.
I may not always be right, but I'm never wrong.
That's pretty good.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Or like one of those ones where they say, but that's because I am, like, you know,
yeah.
like,
Some people say that I always think I'm right.
yeah,
but that's because I am.
And they would be right. Yeah, I always thought it'd be something like that, or like
The
something
only
with,
time
like,
other people are right is when they say I'm always right.
Or like something about like my always like being in books, or like something about reading.
Yeah.
or,
I
like,
was thinking something like
Yeah,
belittling someone for not reading.
yeah,
Well, it's got to be a little bitchy.
yeah. No, totally.
I thought Kelly's was so good for me. If you step into my kitchen, you better know how to stir the sauce.
Right.
You got to ask her for you.
I know. She would come up with a good one.
All right.
Wait,
I think that
should I
wraps it
text
up.
her right now?
Yeah, text her what's. I was gonna ask her for you.
Yeah. Okay, Kelly. and I am. It's a compliment to myself. So, of course, it's very cocky. We're all beautiful, but I'm the one with the brains to back it up.
That is good.
That is really good.
That is good. We knew it would be something
We knew it would be something where I'm cocky about
your brain.
brains.
Yeah.
The best is like, I'm just really actually not that smart, but I do like to believe that I just like have the confidence that I believe that I am, you know?
You are smart.
Well, thanks. I was very good in school up to a certain point.
See, I was
Same.
the opposite way. I was terrible in school up until the end of high school, where I was like, oh shit, you need to have good grades to get into college, and then
Ugh.
tried really hard, and then was
No.
good in college and everything.
Yeah.
All right, that I think wraps up
Yeah.
this Q&A. Were you guys happy
Clearly,
with the
we love
questions?
talking about ourselves, so maybe we should. I feel
We've
like
been talking for a full hour
I
about
know.
ourselves.
I know. Maybe in the next one we take questions on is like high school.
Yeah, I would love. Trust me, I love talking about high school.
Yeah.
Or actually, I love talking about middle school too.
Yeah. I do too.
It's fun. I would love
Okay.
to know more about Noah's middle school and high school experiences. Whatever. That was fun.
Okay.
Thank you guys for submitting your questions. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe you got to know a little bit about us more.
Tune in next week for Chick Chats.
Oh, God.
I posted on Instagram the other day my little necklace combo I've got going on these days that I very much like, and it ends with this long chain from Uncommon James. I love this one. I think it's super, super cute. I'm going to show it on the camera if you're watching on YouTube. It's very cute, goes with everything. Uncommon James, you all know it. You've heard of it because it's founded by Kristen Cavallari. It is a collection of timeless, effortless jewelry that is both versatile and affordable. So you know that this jewelry is super cute because guess what? Kristen Cavallari is wearing it herself. We were all just talking about it this week when there was a certain photo shoot that happened. So embodying her personal sense of style, Kristen designs pieces that are feminine with edge, classic yet trendy, and simple with a pop of personality. They're made from delicate metals and gemstones. Uncommon James jewelry can be worn alone or layered with other pieces, like I have done, for a look that's unique to you. Whether you're going to the office or out for drinks, Uncommon James jewelry will have you ready for anything. I'm obsessed. I love this. I love this necklace. I also got a really cute pair of hoop earrings that I like. They're not traditionally hoops. They're like square shaped, diamond shaped, which are really cute and unique. So they have their best sellers that everybody loves, but they also just dropped their spring collection. They have new silver pieces, all at affordable prices. So to get 10% off everything Uncommon James and Uncommon Beauty, you can go to their website, uncommonjames.com, and use code CITO10 at checkout. That's CITO10 at checkout. All right, guys, little Kardashian Korner is what we're going to get into because there's not too much going on. I feel like sometimes there's things that are happening that you can run through quick, like that have nothing to do with Kardashians, which maybe I'll just, because sometimes things aren't worthy of like a full topic, but are very fun to talk about briefly. One, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills trailer came out. I'm pumped for that. If you haven't watched it, it looks amazing. Two, Avril Lavigne and Mod Sun got engaged, and she has a heart-shaped engagement ring.
Yeah, not a fan of the heart-shaped engagement ring.
The heart-shaped engagement ring is unbelievable. It's very, you know what? I would normally have a lot of shit to say about a heart-shaped engagement ring. For Avril Lavigne, I don't, I think. Like, it fits her. Like, the fact that she just had an album come out that's called Love Sucks and she's getting engaged with a heart-shaped engagement ring is too good.
Yeah, it is.
Too good.
And also,
to fucking Mod Sun.
Yeah, sometimes it fits people.
It does. And for their relationship, like, they got engaged in Paris.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first good for them
Good
on
for
the
them.
podcast. It's going to come out a lot. Because
that's what I'm saying. That was really all I had to say. Okay. The Kardashians, they're being covered a lot right now because the show comes out next week. So we're going to be hearing and talking about them for a while. I do think we're going to recap the show when it first starts. I don't know if we'll do it every episode. Not every episode, but I don't know if we'll do every episode of the show. But to start it off, I think we will because it's a change. And we are obviously going to have to talk about those changes. They're doing it press. And of course, they're doing press on ABC, Disney Family. There was a ABC News special that was on ABC.
oh my God.
And it's Robin Roberts. It was bizarre. Like, at first, I was really excited for it, and I posted on my Instagram, like, I'm locked into this. I can't wait. And then it weirdly turned into, like, an investigative piece and kind of like it had, like, E! True Hollywood Story vibes, sort of, but it felt like they were talking about them so much in the past tense that it was weird. Like, they're all there and they're being interviewed, but they had these experts and people that work in the field, and like Perez Hilton was on it being like they're revolutionary, they're iconic, they're like talking about the how they've affected social media, reality TV, just women in general when it comes to like body image and things like that. Like, kind of all things we know. Nothing really groundbreaking. And the interview portion of it, I don't know how long they actually sat down with Robin Roberts. We saw like 5 minutes total of actual interview piece is, which I would have liked to see a little bit more of, because almost all the clips that came from the interview, they put out on social before it even aired.
I love the Kardashians. I do.
Yeah.
I am not one of those people who hates the Kardashians. I respect all of them. I think a lot of them are funny. I can say that I agree with all those things, that they've changed everything. I'm so fucking sick of talking about them. I really am. Until the show comes out,
Let me tell you something.
Like,
I'm not. I don't know what it is. I'm not.
I don't
know what it is.
I am not sure I can form any more opinions on them that I haven't said already, besides the fact that I do love them. I do respect them. And I'm happy for literally all of them. Like, and then when I say good for them, like, it sounds like I'm just saying it. It's like, that is how I feel. Like, I don't have that many thoughts anymore. Like, it's like, how many opinions can you form about the same thing in different ways, right?
I know,
like,
I agree with
hearing
you.
the same shit over and over again in different forms. Like, we heard it on the special.
Yeah.
We heard it on Jimmy Kimmel.
I thought
We're
that
hearing it on
headline
the
where it
show.
was like Khloe Kardashian finally admits
to nose
Tristan's
job. It's like,
no, Tristan's not the guy for her. It was so funny.
right.
Yeah.
It's like, no fucking shit. Like, it's just sometimes I'm just like, until the new show comes out and we get some new content, I'm like, everything has been the same. Travis and Kourtney are in love. They're getting married. Pete and Kim, they're dating. They're great. Khloe Kardashian, not with Tristan Thompson. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, I don't know how much more I could say about these damn people.
No, I do agree with you. It's hard when it comes to opinion-based things, but as far as headlines, they have been the only ones really making headlines all week long.
Yeah.
You know?
For weeks now.
Yeah. But especially now, and of course that's strategic. They're talking about Kris Jenner being a mastermind, and she absolutely is. And I did like during the special, they talked about her negotiating skills and how, like, no matter what, they're making money. She's getting the best deals for them. One guy said that one of the ways, like, she really changed the game for them was even very early on, any opportunity that the girls would get to make an appearance anywhere must be paid. Like, Kris was making sure they were getting paid for every single thing that they did. And what a manager. I would love for her to manage me. Like, it's just like she's going
Wouldn't
into
that be fucking great?
But it's just so great because she comes off like she is a grandmother, and she comes off so sweet in the moment, being like, oh, Robin Roberts being like, oh, you're like a bulldog when it comes to negotiating, and she's like, huh, I mean, yeah, like and
she's extremely smart.
You know who loves Kris Jenner?
Yeah.
John Mayer.
How could you not?
Yeah.
Kris Jenner, John Mayer bartended on Watch What Happens Live this past week and was great. It was very funny. Yeah.
Glenny Balls and John Mayer.
Yeah, Andy Cohen was just like, sometimes John Mayer just decides to roll through. He said they were just like having dinner before, and John was like, can I bartend? And they were like, yeah.
Sorry to the bartender that kicked out of that spot.
And it was hilarious because it was Sierra and Andrea, and at the end he had like legit questions for Andrea.
I think
he was like,
actually
so
watches the
let
show.
me ask you about, like, it was very funny. Anyway, that's beside the point. The Kris Jenner aspect of it all is very interesting. And then I always prefer sometimes maybe the late night ones because they actually dig a little deeper. Kylie wasn't there. I don't know what press she is doing. She like posted about it being press day. I haven't seen her do any press.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there will be something. So it was all of them besides Kylie, and Jimmy Kimmel was definitely asking them about relationships. Because Kourtney and Travis is the biggest story of the week, and she confirmed, they got fake. Jimmy kept calling it fake married, and she was like, "Only didn't get fake married." She was like, you got fake married. Like, you didn't sign anything. She said that they tried to. That they, like, wanted to have the marriage license and nothing was open. And Kim was like, isn't it 24/7? She was like, how did I do it? Like, at 3 a.m.
Right.
And Kourtney was like, I don't know. It was 2 a.m. They said didn't open until 8 a.m. I think the first time she got married. What was her first... Her first marriage was,
Wait, she's been married, 3 times?
I think 3 times, yeah. Remember when she was with Reggie Bush?
They weren't married, right?
No.
I thought they
heard
were
about that.
endgame.
What?
I thought Kim and Reggie Bush were endgame. If you watch the show, they were
I
cute.
never did. Yeah.
She got married. She was married from 2000 2004 to Damon Thomas.
Yeah, I don't think she speaks highly on that.
No, I think it was bad.
Yeah.
She was really young, obviously. Like, that's a long time ago, and she was really, really young. So yeah, I think that was the first time they did elope.
It's a fun word.
Years later, in an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she admitted to Kourtney and Scott that she married Damon while on ecstasy.
I was just going to say, but yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Hate when that happens.
Yeah. I think he was a bad guy. I think he was a bad
also
guy.
marry somebody on ecstasy.
There's been rumors about him being a bad guy. Yeah. If you can do it Kourtney and Travis style, where like you don't have to actually sign anything.
No, but the thing is, if I was on ecstasy, I would sign.
Yeah, that's probably true. But so like for them, they're dominating those headlines as far as it goes. Pete, I also love when you can tell when an interview is very curated and that Jimmy Kimmel didn't just organically bring up like, hey, you happen to know where this carpet is in this skit? Like, and she's like, oh, just so happens Pete gave me that rug for Valentine's Day. It's like, beforehand. They're like, by the way, if you want to bring up the carpet, good story, Pete. They plan like what they're going to reveal.
They give Jimmy the good stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
so they gave him that was a good little story that Pete for Valentine's Day gave Kim the rug, the costumes, and the little genie bottle from their sketch, the Jasmine and Aladdin sketch, where they did kiss for the first time. Pete and Northwest are driving around the neighborhood together.
I could see Pete being a fun stepdad.
I think he'd be the coolest.
Do you think
Yeah,
North
like he's probably into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does North like know what his relationship is to Kim?
I think
Like,
so. Kim said that Saint and North are very aware of like what's going on.
Yeah, so the older kids do know what's going on.
I mean, yeah, I don't think you're.
Do you think North like knows anything about Pete Davidson or no? It's just like, oh, this is some guy.
I'm not sure if she's too familiar with like his dating history. But
No, I'm just saying, like,
him
comedy,
being
like, a
comedian
comedian.
I don't think North's familiar with his body of work.
Yeah.
I think she could probably be like, I've seen him like,
Yeah,
people-
and she knows like
Movies,
she
maybe.
knows Mom did SNL, so he's probably like,
true.
you could be like, oh well, Pete he's on SNL, the show that Mom did.
yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
and he'd be like, oh, I think that's a very easy one to explain, honestly.
Yeah.
As far as like, oh, we met doing
Yeah,
this
but
show
all
and
these kids
he's
watch
here and-
YouTube and stuff too. Like when I was that age, I knew of like celebrities.
Don't you think
and
Northwest
whatever.
is on YouTube just like Googling her mom and like finding all these things? Like, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I
That's
would
scary.
do. It's a
Or like,
scary
there's
thing
a lot
to
of
think
things
about.
you can Google about Kim.
We
Like,
can. That will be something that we discuss when the new show comes out,
Yeah.
because it's prevalent.
Yeah.
I can't say much more than that.
No.
I guess we can say that we did watch the first two
We
episodes. I think so.
Okay. If we get in trouble, we get in trouble. But yeah, we did.
I just think we
I mean,
can't.
I'm pretty
I
sure
just think
people are
we
aware
can't
screeners
say.
are given out.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a problem.
We did see.
I think we just can't say like anything about it.
Yeah. We did see the first two episodes.
We
and they
did
were
watch the
awesome.
first two episodes of
Very
the
good.
show.
Like I'm not like they were so good.
Yeah, phenomenally. Like
Yeah.
I was. Yeah, I don't think. There was something else. Yeah, I don't think we can say much more than that, but until maybe next week.
Yeah.
But yes, we did see those, and then I love hearing Kendall refer to Devin Booker. She doesn't really talk about him ever. She mentioned that she, watches all of his games on her phone, like if she's out, or she just tries to watch all of his games and whatnot.
Must be nice to date a guy who's like really just good at basketball.
Yeah,
you know?
like she's not dating a bench warmer.
Yeah,
No.
like,
He's out there and he's
Yeah.
good.
He's good.
He's really fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's got to be such a good feeling.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
it's
Like
when
my
you're,
boyfriend's
like,
good.
Dating Chris Humphries, it's like
She said she like really got into the NBA when they would always go to Lakers games with Chloe for
Yeah.
Lamb.
Ah, sad.
Yeah.
I think that Kendall's going to take the most normal route of date a guy for a couple years, get engaged, then get married. Not just like, I'm going to marry him immediately or like, I'm going to have a baby immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just going to be the most natural.
Pete and Kim, like might get married.
Yeah.
They actually
Kim's
might,
a big marriage girl.
I
know.
think Pete is like ready at any moment. Like if Kim's like, let's get married, he's getting
I
married.
know.
Oh,
and
100%.
I think,
Again, with Ariana Grande.
you know, I do think she referenced some icons when it talked to like fashion or celebrity during the Robin Roberts interview. And she mentioned Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor. Like when you kind of emulate your life sometimes, and she talks about she loves being famous. Like she got into this game to be famous, which respect. When you know you got into the game to be famous, you did. And she knocked it out of the ballpark, obviously. Like Elizabeth Taylor was married 7 times. So when that's like, if you want that to have that lasting legacy, you're going to add some more relationships and weddings on there. And she talks about being a romantic. She said she's a relationship person. She's in a great place. She wouldn't date someone that she didn't see like a future with. So
it's fucking crazy. It's so crazy.
Wild?
It's Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson. What a world.
Oh, Elizabeth Taylor was actually married 8 times.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. 8 times is too much.
Go for 10 at that point.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I think she got... Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure one of them she got married and then split up and then married again to the same guy.
It's crazy to me when that happens.
Yeah. I know. It is. It really is. But when you emulate something like that, right? Like you're going to go throughout her adult years, Taylor's personal, especially her, 8 marriages, 2 to the same men. 2 to the same men. So 6 guys total, but 8 different marriages.
Yeah. It's a lot of marriages.
That's a lot.
A lot of husbands.
A
lot of divorces.
Kim's almost, if Pete, if this thing with Pete is legit, she'd be halfway there.
Right.
How old is Pete?
29?
11-year difference.
28? He might be my age. He's 28.
12 years.
November 16th, 1993.
In 10 years, she'll be 50. He'll be 38.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking of like the age difference between Pete and her kids, and it's really not. It's not crazy.
Yeah, 15 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
no,
more than that.
More than that.
Yeah, how old is North?
North is 9.
Oh, yeah.
No, North is 8. She turns 9 in June. So, I mean, that's 20-ish years.
That's enough.
Totally. As long as it's
not like
like
Mason
as long as it's like enough to legitimately there's an actual possibility that he could be her father, then I feel like it plays.
Yeah, like if
you
he
know?
was of
like
age.
he could have had a kid at 20.
Yes.
So
that's very possible.
Yeah. And that picture was cute. It almost looked like North was like riding on his lap, it seemed like. Yeah. So
I could see North having a blast with Pete.
North seems very funny, so they probably laugh a lot, I would say. And Kim's laughing a lot, like Chloe said. She's laughing. They're laughing a lot. Pete's great, makes her laugh.
Love that.
Yeah. Just so happens that I'm sitting here drinking a Celsius. I needed a little boost, and you might be able to tell I feel like I haven't shut up in quite some time. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's the Celsius. My can's actually like empty because I was drinking it. I know this kind of looks weird. I wouldn't normally pour it into a cup, but it wasn't cold, so I needed a little bit of ice. And honestly, if you ever want it, like an energy drink poured on ice is actually very delicious. Celsius helps you stay active and energized all day. It's made with premium ingredients, 0 sugar, 7 essential vitamins. It's not like the traditional energy drink. I am drinking the Peach Vibe Sparkling White Peach Edition. Absolutely delicious. Tastes very, very good. They have so many amazing flavors. Watermelon, grape, mango, passion fruit, peach, mango, strawberry, guava, so many more. It's not even on here. Like I said, this is a sparkling white peach edition. Delicious. They also have different product lines for all situations, including the Celsius Heat, which includes caffeine to help boost energy to overcome any challenge, and the Celsius BCAA Plus Energy, which helps with recovery after a workout. Celsius on the go are the small powder packets in all their different flavors. You can just add to your water bottle whenever you need a boost. So go to Celsius.com to find a store near you, or you can order online at Amazon, Walmart, or Target. That's Celsius. Live fit.
All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. The lovely Jason Tartick is joining us. We have his new book. It's really fun to do this every time if you watch on YouTube.
I know, we've just been really crushing our book promo.
Yeah, right here, right in front of us, the Restart Roadmap. Jason is great at giving advice about your career, financial path. I think that you've taken many different paths in your life, and so we're excited to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Chicks in the Office book club, right?
Yeah, I know. It feels like everybody's promoting their book these days. And I like that we're really touching all genres. We're doing memoirs. This is kind of like advice, how-to, novels.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we should write a book.
I think so.
But we'd have to go like the Craig route.
Right.
You guys would write a hell of a book.
I think we could.
We could write a good book.
Fiction or nonfiction, though? All like behind the scenes of what you
I
don't
think we'd
hear.
probably do nonfiction
You know what
first,
I used to do?
I wanted to like write fiction when I was little.
Yeah, I did. Weirdly enough, me too, which I don't read, so people would think that's crazy, but I used to write like short stories all the time. But I was into movies and stuff. I wanted to like write scripts. But when I first started working at Barstool, I kept a journal every day of like weird things not weird things, but like crazy things that would happen, like people that came into the office, and I lost the journal. Yes.
Oh, that
I
would've been
lost the
gold.
journal.
Oh my God, I didn't even know you did
No,
that.
I did, because when I was it was before you even came in. And I was an intern, and like all these like cool people would come into the office, and like some of them would talk to me, and like all these like weird interactions would happen. So I would start writing them down, and I lost the journal when we moved offices, and it's like one of my biggest regrets, because I would love to like look back at this
You should have
journal.
started to do that again.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I
pick it
know,
up,
but
like,
now
yeah.
it's like my like I guess I could pick it back up, but my you say this now, I'm like, my memory's stronger now. My memory was strong back then.
Yeah, but now you can't remember what you wrote down.
No, I can't. And it was all at the I didn't know where we would end up, right? Like I had no idea. So I didn't like think too much about like keeping it safe. But it upsets me all the time, and I think I'm like, I really started doing that, and like now somebody has a journal of things that happened here
all the good
when
stuff.
I first started. Yeah, good stuff too. Like you know, athletes would come in and stuff. Like,
wow,
that's one of the tough things about writing a book, though, is you want to make it super entertaining, but at the same point, you have to think about like, are you pissing someone off? Are you like going against a contract? So even stuff like that, like, do you think you could expose all this?
I
stuff,
think my thought was like, one day I'm gonna, like, years and years
like,
from
once you're
now,
done with
like
bars.
I'm gonna be able to like
Yeah.
talk about this, like, you know, like when I'm like 50 years old. But it's so upsetting because, like, remember we like threw out all our stuff at the office when we changed office. I had textbooks there from when I was in college. I threw out the textbooks, and that was in the mix, and it's upsetting. So when you
That is tough.
Yeah, it is. When you decided that you were gonna like write a book, and obviously your podcast is very focused on the same kind of thing. Did you know that this was the road that you wanted to take with the book instead of like a personal life? Because it's a little bit of both, but it's more you're giving advice and.
For sure. I knew I definitely wanted
roadmap.
to.
Yeah.
Just more of a roadmap.
It's right there in front of me.
I knew I did not want to do like a Bachelor tell-all book. I was like, that's not what I want to do. I want to stay in my lane, but I want to make it somewhat entertaining.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's more entertaining than hearing about a guy who goes on The Bachelor, goes back to work, and then gets kicked out the door because of a confession Kaitlyn made on the podcast. I mean, it was a wild day when I get the call from my boss, and he's like, so have you Googled yourself today, right?
Can you tell the full story of that for
did
people who
Kaitlyn
don't
say?
know?
Full story.
I don't think I remember.
Yeah, so I'll give you the full story. We're doing a live show. As you guys know, with live shows, you got to get shock value from the audience. It's different than podcasting because you also want to
100%.
entertain.
Yeah.
So Kaitlyn does the confessions. You guys know how the confessions work. If anybody doesn't, if someone comes on her podcast off the vine, you have to give a confession so the people that they're listening to and look up to, they can relate to the fact that we are all human. We all have embarrassing moments. We could all laugh together. And so her confession that night was that the first time we had hooked up, we dry humped. She had said that
Yes, I remember this
she
now.
she orgasmed from dry humping.
Yes.
And then apparently after it, she had like a booger in her nose, and I picked it. And she's like, "That's how I knew this was my dude." And so we're all laughing, like, not thinking anything of it. Another funny thing about this story, I don't even know if I've told this, is I knew we were pretty hammered that night, and I knew we had said some kind of crazy things. So I got the podcast. I went through it. I edited the whole thing because I was like, I don't want issues with work.
Yeah.
I heard that. I was like, it's harmless. I left it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what killed me. All that.
You're like, boss, you don't like a little dry humping?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
But it's also like, it also gets taken, you can listen and be like, oh, this is so harmless and fun. But then when the headlines, when it gets written about, like in Us Weekly, it's like Jason Tartick makes Kaitlyn orgasm from, it's like, so like they just take and then the bosses just see that headline and they're like, what?
What the hell? They're shaking up. And essentially it was like either restart your career here, no more of that. No podcast, no nothing, or go outside the bank and restart your own thing. And so these were the words they were using, restart. And so that's when I created the company Restart. And it just happened that the world turned upside down. And I mean, there's a great resignation and people about 48.7 million people voluntarily left their jobs in 2021. So people are like, their behaviors are now aligning with their career choices to like write their own path and do it their way.
I mean, like being home for COVID, I feel like changed so the business model for like everything, because so many of these companies that always require people to be around or be in the office, now everything's changing. People are choosing where they want to live. They're like, I'm going to keep my job, but I'm going to move across the country. And now like employers say, okay.
Sure.
Right. And people have more freedom and they see that like you could do a lot of stuff from home, I feel like. And I think, even in my own family, people were like, I've been working, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this job when I'm seeing this person on the internet do something cool or like make their own business? So was it a relief for you in some way to leave that job and kind of do your own thing?
For sure. It was a relief, and it was expected. I was going to leave anyway, like 12 months from that. And I didn't expect to leave that early, but I knew I was going to. And
now, was it like that day? Like, how quickly was the turnaround of being like, all right, I'm out of here?
It was pretty quick. Yeah. It was pretty. And the thing is I had to do like a lot of covering up, right? Because the message was I was going to start my own thing. And additionally, I don't know how, like I didn't want my parents to know the whole situation either. So until they read the book, they just thought I was leaving to go do my own thing. They didn't know the whole circumstance. And I even had employees at work text me like, wait a second, I was at your going away party. You're kidding me. I didn't know any of this shit. So it was like,
wait, you had to leave?
Yeah. And then of course you get all like the Bachelor Nation, the trolls that are like, oh, another guy just going to like do nothing for his life. Like, what are you doing now? And so I just
another Bachelor guy writing a book.
Writing a book. Yeah. So anyway, but I think there's a lot of great stories in here. If anyone's having like any career confusion, it's a great book to turn to. And I told stories from like the Wall Street executive offices that I would be in and get to see some of the craziest things from behind the scenes of unscripted television, how people position, negotiate, brand. And I do think it's a page turner.
It is. And not only because it is good, but we are in this book.
Shocking.
That's right.
Shocking.
You guys made it.
Yeah, so if we didn't sell it to you enough already, we are literally mentioned in the book. I was taken aback. I was going through it and I was like,
wait
hold
a second.
on a second.
Is that me?
I was like, wait a second.
You guys are in there.
I'm like, wait, about them getting together? Like, I'm like, about Kaitlyn and Jason getting together? I was like, wow, we're mentioned in a different way.
About our career?
I saw it first, and Rhea was like, oh my God, are we actually getting credit for setting them up? And I was like, no.
You're like, not quite, but we're in there.
And, Erica's got her little
blurb
on the back, as well as a lot of, very cool people. And so we're very honored to be mentioned with a lot of very, very cool people in this this book. And so how much did you take from the podcast, you would say, your podcast, to help you with this book?
I would say a decent amount. So the one thing I talk about is like breaking the blueprint. And I talk about like anybody you look up to. If you rewire how they got to where they didn't do it the way the blueprint suggests. They failed. They always considered to pursue their passions. They made sure what they did, their skill sets aligned with. Like The Rock, people like The Rock, right? His story. Guy was broke, NFL player, had nothing going for him, and was still like, I'm meant to be in entertainment. I'm going to keep going. And so when when I thought about blueprint breakers, like I knew their full story. I think both you guys are blueprint breakers, right?
Thank you very much.
You're not going
Thank
to
you.
Georgetown,
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it your way, the way you wanted to do it. You guys started with Barstool, and Barstool was nothing. And look at the brand you've built, regardless of what that guy said in Kaitlyn's prank. Chicks in the office have built a hell of a brand.
It actually worked out that I wasn't able to be
I
a
know.
part of that.
I actually,
because-
that's what I said too. It
Yeah.
worked so well.
Did you get to watch it back?
Yes,
or
I
no?
did, and she texted me immediately after. She was like, "It went over like so well," and she showed me what Kaitlyn was like texting them during the interview. I was like, "Oh my god!"
We were cracking up.
I don't
guess-
know if I would have been like. I feel
I
like
don't know
I almost
how
would have been
you
fighting
held
back.
your composure, by the
Yeah.
way.
I know. I almost like.
I saw some clips of you like smiling a little
You were
bit.
like
Yeah, I was
smiling,
like,
and you always had one move. You'd be like,
I know, I was
smiling
just
and
like,
looking down.
but I tried to like kind of play it off as like, oh my god, I'm trying to like laugh at how absurd
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
this interview is. But backstory: Jason pranked Kaitlyn for April Fools. He set up a whole fake interview that was supposed to be like a women's empowerment panel, and it was Kaitlyn, myself, and Robin Shaw, and the comedian hired to interview. They set it up where it was like supposed to be a friend of Clayton, and Clayton was in on it, and like encouraged her to go on and do the show, and then this guy like is a total dick to us the whole time, talking down, like basically saying to me, he's like, "Wow, I really thought two of you would be here." Like,
He kept intentionally calling you Rhea.
kept
He's
calling
like,
me
Rhea,
Rhea.
thank you for being
yeah,
here.
I kept calling me Rhea. He kept basically asking
my
Kaitlyn
dad
questions,
called
calling
me
him,
and was
calling
like,
her
"Were
Hannah
you
Brown."
supposed to be in
On
this?"
this
Like
show,
he was
yeah.
like, "I keep seeing your name." I was like, "Yes, but it's
Yes.
just funny."
It was unbelievable.
How long were you planning that?
we planned it the day of.
The day of.
And
Yeah.
you had to get back at her for last
Well,
year.
Kaitlyn. And so anybody that doesn't know, Kaitlyn got me so bad. The night before, her stories are always ridiculous. She sent me a nude, but it was intentionally to fuck with me on April Fools. So on
Yeah.
April Fools, the next day, she had everybody, all like my mom, producers from the show, like the most ridiculous array of people texting me all different things. Like, what'd you just put on the internet? Like, Kaitlyn's gonna kill you. How could you do that to her? And all the same times, like 50 text messages
Oh
come
my
through.
God.
So I call Kaitlyn and I'm like, Kaitlyn, what's going on? You know? And she's like, I don't know. And she goes, I'm looking at, let me call you back. And I look at my stories and nothing's there. And then she calls me and she's like, Jason, take that off your, are you kidding me? So I'm freaking, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, you gotta be kidding me. And so she got me
The
hard.
video
she
of that
recorded
is
the whole
so
thing.
You
funny.
were freaked. I was like, I've never seen Jason like
I
that.
was
Yeah.
freaking out. So literally it was the day out. It was, all this book promoting. It's a busy time. So April 1st, I call Robin, who's super creative. She came up with the idea. When did I DM you?
It was like 10
It was
a.m.
that morning.
Like,
I messaged both you guys literally at like
Yeah.
11 a.m. Like, we got to do this. And it somehow turned out perfect.
Yeah.
I know it did.
It was luck.
It
was
did.
luck.
It was great, and it was funny because like right away, we had a text chain of all of us like planning, but then Kaitlyn texted me and Robin and was like, do we like this guy? Like, what's his deal? Like, she immediately was like, what the fuck? And the best was the fact that like when he went to end, she just like left, and we had to get her to come back
She
into
totally
the Zoom.
took off. And you guys, the whole time, they're texting me, right? And they're saying, Jason, you gotta pull the plug. Like, she's gonna freak out. She's gonna freak out. I'm like, no, hold the line. I'm like yelling at Fran.
We
Like,
need her to freak
He's
out.
like, keep going.
this is my chance. Don't fuck it up.
Push.
Where do, I mean, I don't
so
know
we
where
got
you
her
guys
back.
go from here now. Like,
I don't know. I'm
because
in
this
trouble.
is the
I'm gonna
thing
get
now.
after it.
Now
Like
she's
1
gonna
year,
get next.
She's
No,
gonna
You
but
get
have to
it's-
be on the lookout.
but
I
like
know.
it could be both. Like now, Kaitlyn had 1 year, you have another year. Now, like who gets the next
Yeah,
year?
do you guys
I
do both?
don't
Is
know.
it? Are you
Or do
both
you-
gonna plan pranks at the same
Or
time?
do you surrender?
If we get each other next April 1st, knowing what we've done the last, like,
Yeah,
shame
yeah.
on you or I.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that
our
is
You
guards
guys
are
are just-
up, right? Like, I will have full defense.
That
all
is very
April
true.
1st,
If you get like
2023.
any work invites or anything, you
For
have to
sure.
like look at it so
You
gotta
closely.
just like take off the
Google
whole day.
everyone on
Okay.
the invite.
I'm so defensive now. So we're on a book tour, right? So it's
Yeah.
8 cities, 8 stops.
Yeah.
And I get a call from our operations manager yesterday, and she tried to get me on April 1st. This is bad. She tried to get me in her prank with shit. I'm like, this is terrible. Before she even got there, I'm like, stop. This
Yeah.
she's like, damn it, one day I'll get you. So literally the tour started 2 days ago, and it was like April 2nd or something. She's like, Jason, I just tested positive for COVID. I'm sorry, I can't make the tour. I'm so heartbroken. I literally said to her, I'm like, listen, Julie, you can't bullshit.
yeah.
You don't have COVID. I will see you in Buffalo. This is when your flight is. I'm really looking forward to this. And she texted my partner, was like, Jason's being such a dick. Like, what is his problem? Like, how could he like tell me this isn't real? I thought she was messing with me. It's my defense
You
is
thought she
already
was
up.
gonna get
The
you a
poor
few
girl
days
has
later.
COVID. She can't. She's so distraught about it.
Oh my
So
god.
That's so funny.
You
You're
kill
like,
it out here.
yeah, shut it.
Unbelievable. One
That
way
is
or
Hilarious.
another.
So
Yeah.
you're on this book tour. Now, what does it entail? And you're doing 8 cities in 8 days, so a lot of traveling.
8 cities in 8 days, yeah. And so we're going different spots. We're here in New York tonight. We're at 92Y.
Yeah, when everyone
And I got
listens,
Matt
this will have
James.
happened already. So
Yeah, it
hope was great.
it already happened. We sold it out. It was
Yeah, it
great.
was great.
But the format is we're taking, just like the book, we're taking chapters from the book with our guests and asking them questions about their life and how they approached it. Some of it gets really deep. Some of it gets pretty funny. And then there are some games that we're playing with the audience that have to do they have to sell, and they're going to have to act in different ways. And so it's like entertaining
that's so fun.
while
Interactive.
educational. It's
So
interactive.
you have to
We
like,
got
take someone
prizes
from the
going.
crowd and be like, all right, I'm your boss. Now ask me for more money.
Sell this pen.
Well, that's how it starts, but I'll give you an example of one. So we'll pick out 3 people from the crowd tonight in New York. They're going to have 3 rounds, and they're going to have to, the first round is going to be Matt James never came out of the limo. First impressions are huge, especially with work. You screw up a first impression, it takes 17 acts of remedy to make up for that bad first impression. So they're going to have to act knowing Matt James. What would Matt James say out of the limo? So all 3 of them will go. Claudia, girl with no job, loves to party. You got to act with no words. How the song's going to play? How exactly would Claudia dance? You got to act at your best. You got to sell it. And the third one is in the first chapter. I talk about Sunday Scaries.
Yeah.
And I talk about the fact I was in such a bad position. I never told anyone this until I wrote it. I was in such a bad position with work stuff that I was having panic attacks. So then what I did was I got prescribed Xanax and beta blockers, and I was trying to camouflage it. And so I would literally put it in Altoid cases. And then the problem is when I had Altoid cases and I would like take it if I was like feeling a panic come on, someone would ask me for a mint.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, this isn't going to work.
I got a mint for you.
So this is kind of a special mint.
Yeah. And then I went to Listerine strips. So we'll do like a fight, something where you got to like act that out. Crowd will vote, and then we have a really cool prize we're giving away.
Awesome.
That's fun.
Yeah, good
That's really
fun
fun.
games, interactive, improv, because improv's selling. And selling's important.
And what other cities are you going to?
So we started in Nashville, and then Buffalo, New York, going to Boston tomorrow. After Boston, going to Detroit to Chicago to Cleveland to Minneapolis.
And this is all
8
back
days.
to back to back to back. There's no day in between. Like, why did you want to do it back to back to back?
So the good question, right? So behind the scenes, the publisher's like, once the book releases, the first week after the day it releases is really what
Is the
matters
most important,
for like
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
for metrics, for if you're going to stay in retailers,
Right.
For like if you're ever going to get an award or anything, that's when you got to do it. So if you're going to do it, that's
just
the way
gotta-
to go.
Now, can
Just
people
gotta go in hard.
buy the book when at the shows?
Yep, they could buy it at the shows. You could buy it on Amazon. You could buy it at Barnes & Noble, Target, anywhere where you can get a book right now.
And so I think when this airs, probably people are all the stops? Can people still get tickets towards the end?
Yeah.
For like those last couple ones, because I think that's probably going to be the one people. Cleveland, Minneapolis.
Yep. So Cleveland, you just go to the restartroadmap.com and all the ticket information's there.
Amazing. So once you guys wrap this up, what are the upcoming plans for afterward? A little break, a vacation?
Well, the first thing we're doing is we're going to Tulum.
Amazing.
So never been to
Okay.
Tulum. We got that.
Yeah.
That'll
going.
be fun.
We have the wedding planner is locked in. The wedding planner is the same planner that Ashley and Jared use, because when we went to that wedding, we were just
I mean, that
blown
wedding
away.
that wedding
looked
Yeah.
stunning.
Yeah. From the
was
outside looking in,
unbelievable.
it's unreal.
We know
Yeah.
it's going to be in Nashville. That's all we know now. Let me ask you your opinion on this. I'm not saying anything I just want your opinion, right? What are your thoughts in general of like a New Year's Eve wedding? Is that
Okay,
bad,
I'm glad
good,
you
or
just
not?
asked.
Curious. I'm not
because
saying
I
that's
thought
a
that
plan.
was what you
There
were going to
are no-
ask.
No, you didn't.
Why?
Yes,
Why do you know my future? all the
For
time?
some reason, I really think only because I just had this conversation with my friends this past weekend.
Interesting. What's your
And
take on it? Give me a
I
breakdown.
actually am all in on a New Year's Eve wedding.
Interesting.
So
it's
my-
a polarizing
yeah.
call.
It is.
People hate it or love it.
I think I talked about this around New Year's Eve.
I
because
hate
knew
New
somebody
Year's
that
Eve.
yes. So I think that's why it works out, because my initial thought was like, how selfish of people to make everyone do this on New Year's Eve. But then I was like, wait a second. Once I had I was like, my New Year's Eve wasn't that great. It was fine.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out your plans, and people got to pay. And it's like, if we just all know what we're doing on New Year's Eve, then it works out.
It is a big. I know it's a big.
It gives everyone
it's a big
plan.
travel vacation time,
Yeah,
right? People
that's
take
true,
trips
'cause you're going
between
from
Christmas and New Year's. Like that's when
yeah.
our office closes, so like we take
Gotcha.
time off then. But there's enough time where you can take some time off or maybe go on a little trip, a little getaway, and then on New Year's Eve like you have these plans. I just think that I think it's fun. I think everybody wants a reason to like get up, get dressed, like black tie and like party on New Year's Eve.
Right.
But they don't want like, especially in New York, it's so expensive. It's so overplayed. Like it's just not. The events are just not as fun as it seems.
I'm not sure I will ever do New Year's Eve in New York City again.
Yeah, so I just think exactly.
What was the bad experience?
Exactly.
I just was so oversold.
It's so oversold.
It's just like, this is going to be and it's like, nah.
just
It's
sucks.
just
So like
not
to know that you have
Yeah,
a wedding
it's just-
and you're just like happy and everyone's it's just love everywhere, and then like midnight and everyone parties.
Yeah,
and I feel
so
like
do
it's
you have
great.
to start the wedding a little bit later so that like you make sure? I mean, weddings usually always go past midnight, I think, but like you got to start it a little bit later, or
Well, yeah, then you could have your after party.
Yeah,
this
the
was just
after
a recent
party.
debate we had, and I'm curious. Now I'm asking people, what are your thoughts on it? So
now, what is
we'll
your
see.
thought?
I don't know. At first, I'm like New Year's Eve wedding. Like I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
like,
it's first. I wanted to look up what day of the week it is this
I'm like,
year.
is
It is a
tacky?
Saturday night.
I'm like, I don't know. Is that tacky? But it's a Saturday night.
It's a Saturday night at the end of 2022.
Interesting.
Just saying. Interesting. I'm sure you probably didn't know that.
Thanks. I swear to God, I actually swear to God. I had
Oh no,
idea.
really?
No idea.
December
We're just, like,
31st is a Saturday.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's
All
the
right.
weather
Well,
like
good.
in Nashville at that time?
It could be anything.
Yeah.
It could be rainy. It could be, I mean, it is the craziest weather in Nashville, so I don't even know.
I
But-
liked in the book when you talked about like deciding where to live and how that impacts your finances and so
Yeah.
much, because I think Rhea and I we've had discussions about
I
New
wanna move
York
to Florida
and
so
she
bad.
like
Do
she's
you?
like, I
She
want to get
won't.
the hell out of here. I'm like, I don't want to leave New York. And then I
Interesting.
see that and I'm like, oh my god, it would be so much more money.
I
Like
just wanna move to
I just did my
Florida so
taxes.
bad.
God,
Yeah.
New York taxes.
New York
They're
taxes
so bad.
are
It's
rough.
like
They're
it's like
brutal.
getting a raise
It's
if
a
you move
huge
to
raise.
Florida. Like
Yeah, well, Tennessee too.
Or,
no
yeah, like,
state income
whatever,
tax.
but,
a big
yeah.
part of this book is like rethinking where you live and why, and like what you're getting out of it.
Yeah.
And I think there's like 3 things you got to grade, like your personal thing. Some people like personal happiness. Like I have friends in Buffalo, it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
They know that their career and their financial situation is not accelerating because of where they live, given what they're doing.
Yeah.
But they're like, I don't care. That personal satisfaction is all I want out of life.
Yeah.
But you got to grade like your personal satisfaction, the financial impact where you live, and the professional impact, and then make sense of it.
I'm like your brother. Like being
Oh.
like, I'm not leaving New
when I
York for
told him
Tennessee.
that, he's like, I wouldn't. Then I would live in, he said, then I'd live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
My
So
thing
people
with
are
Florida
rethinking
is just like I
everything.
have family there,
Yeah.
and so like I'm from Long Island, and
Yeah.
we have my house on Long Island still, but my parents go to Florida from February till June every year, and they are like thinking about just like living there permanently, keeping our house here for like my siblings or whatever. But I also have cousins there and like a bunch of family. My grandpa's there. I'm like, I just, it doesn't like I'm so happy when I go there.
Yeah.
I would get a huge raise if I went there, but I
This
can't.
sounds
I
like
can't
Kaitlyn
leave her
and I
yet.
debating where we would live.
Yeah.
Like, where do we go? So,
know.
do you have a happy medium, or would you never leave New York?
She turned to me and said she was never leaving
I
New
don't
York
know
last
if I'm
week.
gonna leave.
I
New
was
York.
like,
I mean,
what?
Texas?
No, I don't think I
That's
would
what
ever
she-
like. I don't think I'll be living anywhere outside the tri-state area.
Okay.
Like I think like when I leave Manhattan,
Yeah.
it could be like Long Island or New Jersey.
Okay, so you're saying
Yeah.
you're
Like,
kinda
I
stuck
don't-
here, right?
No, I will go because if she's stuck here, then it's like, well,
Yeah.
why can't you be stuck in Florida? You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like,
seriously.
now I got to be able to move where I want to live.
What you could do is you do 6 months and 1 day in Florida, and then you do 5 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get the tax.
Well,
benefit.
thankfully
That's
now
the-
people
that's
can
the
do
Dave Portnoy plan.
podcasts over Zoom.
And
But
then
that won't be
actually
for a
the-
while. I got a couple of years before I
Yeah.
leave.
That's
but-
There you
the
go.
Laura and John Mariano plan. My parents are now Florida residents
Oh,
as well,
really?
but they're there like
live up
winter,
there, yeah.
winter months.
I think so. That's one thing too about this book. I think people are rethinking like every age. Like I
Yeah.
think the workers are thinking about. I think retirees. One thing we didn't even talk about with the pandemic is students.
Yeah.
Students are like, wait a second, why am I spending this much money sitting at home? I can't even go to the bar and like
Yeah.
patron night or like hang out with my fraternity. It's just interesting. In the last 2 years, I feel like we have seen change happen at a speed that would have taken like 8 years.
Yeah.
And everyone's rethinking it. And if you're not rethinking it, I think you're being left behind. And that's a lot of
It's just like it's so fucking expensive to live here. Like in the city, and not enough room at all.
know.
Like the living situation
I think
is just
selfishly,
tight.
like all my friends are still here.
Yeah.
I haven't quite gotten to the age yet where like everyone's getting
start
married and
moving,
moving away yet.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it'll happen eventually.
For sure.
But like as of right now, like all my friends, all my boyfriend's friends, all in New York. Like there is
Everyone's
nobody.
there.
Like if I moved to Florida, I got my parents.
Right, yeah.
And I don't have anybody
my
else.
best friend lives in
Your
Florida.
personal score will be a 0.
Yes, like
Maybe
I
a 1.
literally
Mom and dad
I
are
like lose any aspect
Yeah.
of a social life
Yeah.
that I have, and that's important to me.
Right.
So.
My best friend, also named Francesca,
Yes.
lives in Florida.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
that has a huge
she's
impact
like
on
my
it, too.
distant cousin. I call her my cousin, but
Here's what
Yeah.
you guys need. You need to keep blowing this tour up. Then you'll get the tour bus. You'll be going everywhere,
Yeah, yeah.
anywhere. It's not going to matter. You don't have to claim residency anyway, and you can still be here.
That's
That is the angle right
We're
there.
nomads.
That's it.
yeah.
But
I do love it here though. I don't want to make it
Yeah.
seem
Yeah,
like
no,
I
I know.
hate New
Sure.
York. Like I have so much fun here, but I'm like, like the weather is just so nice.
that's one of the things I talk about too in the book is like living in Seattle. It was so expensive.
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone there. And being a banker in Seattle, it's not, the city doesn't do anything back, right? It doesn't give
Yeah.
any value back for that profession. So I was just like, what am I doing here, right? Like my score on all 3 of those were like none, and that's when I made the decision to go to Nashville.
Amazing. Well, all right. So Tulum wedding planning, you guys are locked in, and before, like, do you have a date like that? You're like, we're gonna be married before this rolls around.
That's a question I haven't been asked yet, and that's good. I gotta think by this time next year,
You'll have done
gotta
the
be married.
deed?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we just recently talked about like kids and
Yeah.
timing, and like
We're gonna be
crazy.
Auntie Fran, Auntie Rhea.
Yeah, like you guys like weirdly. I know we've said it a million times, but the Kaitlyn thing, the ramen thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're
good
in
job
your
with the
book,
prank.
Jason.
You're
We're in
my
your book.
You're in my damn book.
Yeah.
You knew that I was going to ask you about New Year's Eve. Like you're
yeah.
predicting my wedding
know.
date.
Mhm. I know.
Fran, you're sicko. What's
I know.
going on?
Yeah,
there?
you are kind of
How do you
sick.
know all
I
this?
know.
Tell me what's next. Give me a prediction.
I
when
don't.
are we having a kid? What do you got?
I think soon.
Really?
Yeah.
You think sooner than
I
a
think
year?
it's
gonna be so-
Put it
No, I
out-
don't think sooner
put
than.
it
I
out
don't know
there.
if sooner than a year.
When do you think?
I think
wanna hear
within
it.
2 years.
When do you think Caitlyn would find out
Within
she's
2
pregnant?
years.
No, make like a
Oh,
point.
I'm gonna
Because if
guess-
you're right, it's gonna.
I'm
freak
gonna
me the
guess
fuck
she's
out.
gonna find out in like August of 2023. That's good.
So that's not this summer. That's
Yeah,
the summer
next
Like
summer.
after.
seeing my life unfold.
Yeah,
in
you're
front of
like
my eyes.
that. Maybe that's possible.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
All right, there we go.
All right, that's my guess. Jason, thank you so much for coming and seeing us. And if you guys are listening and you're in Cleveland or Minneapolis, or hopefully I think you'll still be able to get tickets to those shows, check out the website and buy the book,
Yeah,
The
that'd be
Restart
great.
Roadmap. It's really great if you feel like you're in a little iffy spot with your career or life changes. This is a great book for you.
And Chicks in the Office are in it.
Exactly.
And
so
it's endorsed
There you
by
go.
Erica. What
Yeah.
more can you want?
What more could you
Barstool
want in a
galore.
book,
Might as well have
honestly.
just the logo on the front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right in the corner.
yeah, there's a very tiny stool and stars.
Yeah,
if you look
stool
real
and stars.
closely on the
There you
back.
go.
All right,
Thank you,
Jason, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right, that wraps up today's episode of Chicks in the Office. Just a reminder, the tickets for the West Coast live tour are on sale now. You can go to the link in the description to check it out and make sure you buy our new merch. We love you guys. We'll talk to you on Monday.